Hey Porker, this is JGM from Airsoft Forum. I'm making this video for you to give you a proper idea on what perfect bevel to pinion shimming is and shimming of the sector and spur gears. You want near 100% tooth contact between each gear. I'm here to try and show you this. See that bevel, bottom of the bevel gear and the bottom of the spur gear mesh pretty much perfectly. It's like 100% meshing, so that is good. That's how you want it. Also, the spur gear and the bevel gear clear the gearbox shell. You want that, or else you're going to have a bunch of metal shavings in your gearbox from the damaged shell and gears. And now we're moving on to the spur gear and sector gear meshing. It does not look perfect right now, but when I look close up at it without this flashlight and that lithium grease impeding, it is pretty much perfectly shimmed. I mean, the sector gear clears it with nearly 100% tooth contact. I like to shim it a little bit higher than 0.1 millimeters above the spur's bottom layer of teeth. Usually around 0.3 millimeters is what I prefer to do. That works for me. I mean, these gears have literally no wear. I haven't put much use through them, but so far, so good. It's holding up well, with absolutely no signs of premature wear at all. Your gear should be spinning smoothly. I mean, perfectly smooth. Wait, I over-tightened this shell just a little bit. I'm supposed to put these screws in here that I'm unscrewing now with the motor cage. And if you do them a little too tight, without the motor cage, it closes down the gearbox shell further than it should. So, that aside, you can see my completely free movement of my gears. I mean, it takes nothing to spin them. You spin good 3-4 times with no interference whatsoever. I mean, it's just a smooth deal going on here. That's how you want it. You want it to be effortless, and you don't want movement in between the gears. Here, let's see. Sector gear. See, it rises a little bit when I pressure it. That's how I want it. Better too loose. Just a tiny bit too loose. Better than too tight. So that's how I shimmed it. Same with the spur gear. I mean, I can show you if you want, but I'm telling you, there's just a little tiny bit of movement there. That's how you want it. So now I'm going to plug in the motor and motor cage and show you bevel to pinion meshing, the most important part. Just bear with me for a moment while I install that. These are ZCI gears. The spur gear and the sector gear are 13-to-1 ratio, and the bevel gear is a JG bevel, and the motor is a HC, pretty much the same thing as SHS, high torque type, long type motor, stock pinion. Meshing's great. I mean, there is absolutely pretty much zero wear. I actually had some wear on the pinion from a previous build, but when I switched it to this one, I actually corrected some of that because it shimmed so well. Let me give you a look at this bevel to pinion shimming. I dremeled this hole here. Hold on. I dremeled that hole so I could view the mesh of the gears. Just trying to get you a good view. It's a little set back, that motor height. No, looking at it, it's a little blurry here, but looking at it through, yeah, there you go. Just a tiny, you just want the the pinion gear to be just behind the bevel. It's a little exaggerated from this view, but I'm positive it's perfect. The pinion gear has zero wear on it. Same with the bevel gear. They're both in perfect condition. And how tight you want the bevel gear to the pinion gear is also crucially important. I'm going to show you how it just barely, how you have, excuse me, very poor articulating. I'm going to show you how you're just supposed to have the tiniest bit of movement, side-to-side movement between the bevel gear and the pinion gear. You want the pinion gear to move up just a little tiny bit when meshed with the bevel gear. See that? It's approximately 0.1 millimeter. It's actually a little too much. It's definitely too much. I might have lost a shim when I took the gearbox apart at the field. When I stripped my piston, stock JG piston, with a mislabeled spring, and with this setup, it led to pre-engagement. It's supposed to be a M130 spring, but it turned out to be a M100. So I'm going to correct that amount of movement. I'm going to probably add a 0.1 millimeter shim, or maybe take off a 0.15 and put a 0.1 on just to make it a little bit tighter. You want it just a little bit tighter than that right there. You do that, you're golden. And if you have the motor height the way I have it, you'll be perfect too. I mean, these gears are in literally perfect condition. So that's how you want them. Any more questions, just please feel free to post. Thanks.